Hey y'all, Caleb the camera guy here. Today we're going to break down the lighting setup for the scene that you just saw. Nanlite sent me a couple lights in exchange for this breakdown, but this is not like a review about the lights or anything like that. I'm just going to, like I said, walk through the setup and how we got there, our thought process and everything like that. So let's just jump straight into it. I'm going to screen record all this stuff as I kind of walk and talk through it. Instead of just doing a voiceover like I did in my last video. And if you didn't see the last video, please go give it a watch. If you did see the last one and you're coming to watch this one, thanks for coming back. I'm excited to keep doing more lighting breakdowns like this for you guys. Okay, let's jump into Photoshop here. I built out my lighting diagram in Nanlite's app, the Nanlink app, and then I exported it and brought it into Photoshop so I could kind of turn on all these layers one at a time and show you guys what's going on, while also being able to draw on it as well. Actually, I guess I should back up even further than this. So initially, my buddy Ian, we were chatting. And I was like, "Hey man, I want to make another lighting breakdown." And he was like, "Oh, I just got this new light meter. I want to test it out." I was like, "All right, well, let's get together and make some stuff." But he started sending me some stuff. He was like, "I want to do some gritty, like gym looking stuff." He was like, "I really like this look here, and this look here, and I like this gritty garage gym type thing. Like, what can we do with this?" And then he was like, "Well, I got this window right here in my garage, and we could get a bench and we can get some dumbbells and stuff like that and try to recreate just a really moody, dramatic look." And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go." So the first thing we did is we, looked at some reference images and stuff like that. We went on ShotDeck and we were like, "Oh, let's do something like stylized. Like, let's not go realistic with this one. Let's go like heavy style. Like, let's go like teal," right? So we just like looked up the color teal in ShotDeck. Let's do teal. Let's do night. And so you can just start typing in things. And here we're just trying to figure out, okay, what's the mood? What's the color, right? What kind of contrast ratios do we want? And so we're really liking stuff with that typical teal color. So we're just, browsing through, and I actually saved a couple shots, so I'll go find those. But we're like, stuff like this, right? So yeah, very much like this, very contrasty. This is the type of stuff we're looking at. This is the color we want coming through the window. We want it to be like nighttime vibes. And so once we had a couple images, we were like, okay, we agreed on, yeah, that's what we want. Let's go try to make something out of that. We set up our wide shot. We found the angle, and we're like, okay, this is our wide. This is going to be the hardest thing to light. Everything else after that's easy because you can fudge it around once you move in closer, right? Setting up our wide shot, the first thing we did is we brought in this practical light, and it was actually cold outside, so it was cold in his garage. So it kind of made sense. And I stopped by Home Depot to get this little heating dish, and it actually did not put off like much light at all. You had to be at the perfect angle. It's really just the reflection from the heating element, which meant we were going to have to exaggerate that look, right? Okay, so we have the practical here, and this is, let me just go ahead and paint this. Boom. This is kind of this, orange tungsten-y color right here. It's reddish orange, but I'm just going to paint it this color so we can kind of get an idea of what's going on as I add the stuff in. And the next thing was, all right, let's blast some light into the window and get some room fill. All right, so we have the FC500C, and that we went in with our blue color. We aimed it through the window. We put the Fresnel on there with the barn doors so we could shape the light and intensify it. And so we're just getting this blue light casting through the window at an angle. And it actually, ended up going through this ladder that was right next to the window, which gave us this little lattice texture on the wall. The next thing we needed to do after that was bring up that practical light. We need to get some more juice off of it. So we're going to bring in another light to kind of wrap that light around and fake it as if it was coming from that heat lamp. We set up the FC120B over here with a spotlight attachment to it. We had to kind of boom it up and over to keep it out of the shot, kind of angle that down, and that was coming this direction to hit the shoulder and face, and again just kind of wrap around to the forward side of the subject. So this little spotlight, yeah, it gave us the wrap on the shoulder, it gave us the wrap on the face, and it also hit the weights a little bit on the floor. then we needed to bring up the wrap from the window, right? Like it was a little too contrasty. We're going to wrap some light from that window around to the front of the subject, even though it's technically behind them. So we brought in a Pavo Slim 120C. Again, we boomed that up and out on a boom arm so we could get the stands out of the shot because it was very wide. We had it kind of angled, you know, out and down with a grid on it, and that helped control the light and keep it more focused on the subject and not spilling into the rest of the room. From there, we had to add some haze and stuff like that. And we danced around a bunch trying to add haze. Found out that my fog machine actually had a leak in the tank, which was crazy because I just filled it up and then all of a sudden it was just pouring out the bottom. We were like, oh great, I guess we're going to be using like one of the little ninja haze things that he had. Okay, anyways, so let's go ahead and draw some of this on here. So this light, yes, it's giving us, actually it's not really at an angle because we get the grid. So this is giving us the wrap right here. So that's pretty much the lighting setup. And if I go into DaVinci now, you'll see this opening shot here. This really set the colors of the entire thing right here. We got blue, we got the orange, and we're going to keep with that throughout the whole piece. So if we go to our wide shot, let's check this out. Here's the heating dish. And you can see like this light right here on the weights is not from this dish. Like I said, there is no light coming out of this thing. There is a reflection off the floor right here. That's real. But there's like no light. This right here, this wrap on his shoulder, on his shoe, all this that you see down here, that's not real. That's not from the heat lamp. That is from our spotlight that's up out of camera. Here's our 500 going through this window here. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. There was a fence actually right here, and you can see it in a previous shot before we covered it. But what we did was we took a little floppy or a black cloth and just covered the fence because we wanted it to look really dark out the window. So once you light that wide shot, like I said, that's the hardest shot, and I'm going to punch into a close-up here. This close-up is actually exaggerated. Same with this here. So again, this is not from the heat lamp at all. This was actually some Pavo tubes. So once we punched in closer, we were able to set up these little Pavo tube 6 CPs. And those were giving us, again, just that warmth. And it's just pushing, you know, more onto the subject, more onto the shoes. So we put one on the ground, we put one on a light stand, just because we want more of that contrasting color, which turned out really nice. You know, we got a little split light going on here. So you got the 120 Pavo Slim providing this blue, and then the trick is you don't ever want the colors to meet. You want to have a little gap of shadow that separates the light. And I'm saying that's what I prefer. I should say. You can do whatever you want, but I prefer that little gap of shadow there to separate, because otherwise the colors just bleed into each other and they get all muddy and stuff like that. So it's nice to have that little sliver of shadow, and you can make that sliver of shadow bigger or smaller, however big you want it to be, but it's really nice for color separation. So for all this shutter drag stuff where I'm whipping the camera around and following him, you can see the Pavo tubes aren't there. But with the shutter drag and everything, it's moving around so crazy that you're not even going to realize like, oh, where's that orange light on his shoe? It's not there, you know? And that's because I'm moving around. And so you're not even paying attention to that. But that's the whole thing, is once you light the wide shot, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. And then when you move in for the close-ups, you can completely change the lighting setup, and nobody will pay attention if you keep the piece moving. Like, nobody will know the difference. So you can see here, this isn't even like very bright at all, this heat dish, because we're off of its off axis to where like we're not getting the reflection, right? So this is all cheated, right? This is the Pavo Tube 6 CP on a little light stand, giving us this warmth, as well as the spotlight, but we needed a little more, and that's what that is. This right here, this is the reflection from that Pavo Tube 6 CP, and we did have egg crates on there, so that's helping us direct the light so we're not getting that orange spill over here on the wall and everywhere. It's very direct. Again, we have that shadow separation here on the face. We have a nice edge right here. There you go, you can see it better here. So we're getting a little bit of wrap, and then that nice shadowy center. All right, now let's move onwards. And believe it or not, like all of this, oops, sorry, I'm pointing at the wrong monitor here. Believe it or not, all of this on the ground right here is exaggerated. If I go into the color grade and turn all this off, open this up. This is what it actually looked like out of camera. But, you know, take note of this here on the shoulder. Look at this lamp. Look at the ground. Boom. So I wanted to pump a little more orange, a little more warmth into this area to, again, like sell the look that this thing is putting off some light, but it's really not. And it helped balance out the image, because otherwise you just have like this orange circle here. So to try to save that, I did some editing, finagling here, and brought the warmth out in this side of the image. And then our last lighting setup was, if we move out of this, there's a dog barking in the background. Our last lighting setup was this, super simple, just top down. Again, this was the look that he kind of wanted, that he sent me earlier on in the text message, just this black and whitish, one light source, contrasty look. So this was actually achieved just with the 120C top down. And originally we kept it blue to match everything else. But see if I turn that off, you can see. I feel like to separate it in the edit, I did the black and white so it looked a little different. Oh yeah, let's talk about this shot real quick. So here again, open this up. You're getting the wrap from the 120. You can see in the catch light here, that's the 120C. That's boomed up over by the door. And then again, you have the spotlight and the PavoTube 2.6 CPs that are giving us this nice little orange edge light. I actually did catch a flare while I was swinging the camera around. So this up here is a flare from the spotlight, because the iron glass lenses flare like crazy. So that's actually me catching a flare right there from the spotlight. But as you can see, as we go down, there is no pavo tubes on the ground. So it's easier, like I said, shoot the wide shots. You sell that. You want it to look good. You want to pay attention to it, of course. But when you move into the close-up shots, that's when you can really exaggerate the lighting scenario from the wide, right? You can change things up completely and nobody will notice, for the most part. I mean, people like me and you, maybe, and other filmmakers will notice. But if they're really paying attention to the story, or, you know, they're too distracted by everything that's going on in the piece, then a lot of times you'll just miss it and you'll forgive it and you'll let it go because it looks cool. We didn't really plan much for this. We just got together to hang out, have some fun, test out the light meter, play with some lights. So we didn't really have an idea for this edit at all. We just shot a couple different angles, and, you know, like I said, he wanted to get this shot. He really liked this look, but how does this match with this? It really doesn't at all. So I kind of just was like, maybe we'll use some lightning transitions in here. That felt cool. Did some sound design for that. Then I made the whole piece sound like it was raining. So like in the beginning, you have a little bit of thunderstorm. You got some rain. At the end, you can hear it again. And these thunderclaps give us this this transition between this and this look. And sometimes in the edit, you know, it doesn't have to make sense. Sometimes it just has to look cool. Just give the people what they want, you know, flashy stuff. Yeah, I guess one other thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, when you're going to practice and stuff like that. Find an image that you like, watching a movie, or go on ShotDeck or any other, place where you can look at cool images and break down what the shadows are doing. Okay, that shadow's going this direction, so there must be a light over here, and it must be at this angle or something, to create this setup. If you pay attention to the shadows and the highlights, and even in the haze, like sometimes like up here you can see there's this kind of like a hot spot, which tells you, okay, there's a light like inside. But since this window's here, it kind of sold where that light was coming from. I guess that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, I know this is a little bit longer and it was a little bit rambly, but I just wanted to see, what it was like to do a lighting breakdown like this. And I actually had a lot more fun doing it this way than doing a voiceover and writing a script and everything like that, just so I could sit here and talk to you guys. So I had fun. I hope you had fun. Have a good day and stay tuned. I've got a couple more of these lighting breakdowns coming in the future, and I'm actually getting back together with Ian in a couple weeks or so to pretty much do the same scenario, but we're going to do a natural look instead of a stylized look. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be on his YouTube channel. He's going to break that down. So go give him a follow, subscribe, whatever. And please like this video, comment if you have any questions. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks.